you for joining the Women Can podcast. My name is Morgan, and I will be your host. I am joined with Ray July of Chinook Roofing. Full disclosure, we are friends, and I have no idea how this is going to go when interviewing a friend. So,
hey, Morgan.
Hey, Ray.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. See, already. You're so welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Really quickly, we want to give a shout out to our girls, Brittany and Monica and
Hey, girls.
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Thanks for believing in us when nobody else would.
We appreciate it.
We do. So I want to, well, first of all, I want to quickly acknowledge today's date. Today is September 11th. And 19 years ago, tragedy struck our country. And so I just want to acknowledge that happened, and I want to thank all the men and women that sacrificed and continue to protect our country today. So thank you for your service and for your sacrifice. One of the reasons why I reached out to Ray to participate in today's podcast is Ray and I have a couple of things in common. The first being that we are both Sun Devils.
Sun Devils.
How do we do the?
The shocker?
Oh.
Yep. Morgan's a Sun Devil in name only.
I am a Sun Devil in name only. I think our college experiences were different.
Very.
So we both went to ASU.
Yes.
And we both work in the roofing industry.
We do.
And the roofing industry is definitely an interesting industry, especially as a woman. And
That's
so I think you have a unique perspective on what it is to work in this really male-dominated industry, not just as a woman, but a woman of color as well.
Absolutely.
So I first want to ask, give us your background. What's your background in?
So my background is in accounting and finance from ASU. But I had been a stay-at-home mom for a while. I needed to get back out to work and kind of found myself in the roofing industry. This was supposed to be a temporary gig, not permanent at all. Just wanted something till the next thing came around, and I fell in love with it. Right around 90 days or so, I found myself driving home from work and just staring at the roofs of buildings.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
Yeah.
When you see a mossy roof, are you like,
oh, yes.
I always, whenever I see a mossy roof, I'm like, oh, gross.
Yeah, I'm always nitpicking on every little thing. I just bought a house, and yeah, the roofing inspection process, I was very, very picky.
Oh, what's on your roof right now?
Papco. Yeah, shingles. For those of you who don't really know what that is.
Something different to us.
Yes.
But shingles. Papco, huh?
Shingles, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You keeping those on there?
I haven't thought about it yet. It's a pretty new roof.
New?
It's about 5 years old. So
okay.
Yeah.
And it's got some life in it.
It's got some life in it. It looks really good. So
okay.
We'll probably keep it around. But I never thought I'd be in the roofing industry. I never thought I'd be in a trade industry because, I went to college and had these grand ideas of working in corporate America and, what you think you should do versus what you really are capable of doing, I guess. And so, I started working for Chinook 6 years ago, June 23rd. I keep track. I know, it's kind of weird.
It moves by really fast and really slow.
It moves by really fast and really slow. You are right. And one of the things that I guess made me fall in love with being in roofing is the company I worked for. Very supportive people. The owners of our company have always made themselves available. That we have this open door policy. If you ever have a question, you can ask and it gets answered. People taking you under their wing and mentoring you, providing education opportunities for you. And the opportunity for advancement is so great with our company as it continues to grow. I've watched our company grow exponentially in the last 6 years. And, when you work for a small business, the first thing you kind of think is, I'm probably going to get stuck here working at the same desk for 20 years, making the same kind of money.
No advancement.
Exactly. And that's kind of why I thought that when I started, this was going to be until the next best thing came along. But within my first year there, I was already promoted. I started making more money, and I just fell in love with the construction industry, especially roofing. You kind of get to see how the sausage is made in construction. And, you know, I love it a lot. And as a woman of color, especially in this predominantly white male industry, I've noticed in the time that I've been in the industry that it's kind of starting to change a little bit. We're seeing a little bit more women. There's not a whole lot, but you're kind of seeing a little bit more women when I go to meetings. When I first started, I'd go to a meeting and I would be the only woman there. Now I go to meetings and there are women there, you know? And so that is a plus for me. And it makes me excited to see what's going to happen next and how this industry is going to develop.
So when you first started, so at Chinook, how many women worked for Chinook
When
now?
I first started, there were probably 4 or 5 of us. And now I believe we've got, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 or 11. We outnumber the men in the office.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's just how it goes, but that's pretty
Yeah.
significant. I mean, just from a lot of people don't know how a roofing company works, but
Right.
that's huge. Usually, you see maybe 1 or 2 in a company of like
Yep.
20 to 30 to 40.
Yep. I've seen when I first started, there wasn't any female superintendents on job sites, and now we see female superintendents on job sites, which is great. It's you go to distribution and you see females working in distribution. They're sales reps. They are inside sales, outside sales, and that's a big plus. That says something about the direction that we're going in.
Yeah. I noticed we also have, we see a lot of women in safety as well. This last year,
Yep.
we had a female safety officer.
Yeah. I think Amy Davison at the name of the company is slipping, but yeah, at Approach. Yeah.
Approach management.
Approach management. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, I lost my question because I was thinking about our she build.
Yes.
So, like, walk me through like your daily responsibility. What does a day in the life of Ray look like at Chinook, or the whole day?
Well, my days usually start the day before, and here's why. For some reason, you'll get, this crazy email that you've got to respond to that just requires all this attention at like 5:30 in the afternoon when you're already home, you're making dinner for your family, and you get this email. And so my day will start with me responding to anything I would have gotten late that evening. I do a lot of bid work. My primary responsibilities is business development for our steep slope department. And so I, do a lot. I bid a lot of steep slope projects, steep slope shingles. That's kind of what that means. I've been kind of diving in slowly into some low slope commercial bidding work. I'm learning a lot more of that. It's still very, very, very new to me because all of my training had been in steep slope shingle work. And so now I'm getting the opportunity to learn more about the low slope aspect and how to bid those projects. That brings me back to my point about opportunities for advancement. So, you kind of think that, well, I can only go so far, but not with our company. You can go much further than you think you can. And so, I started off when I first started doing bid work was just, doing the shingle stuff. And then now I'm doing, in addition to shingles and gutters, I'm also doing bid work in low slope as well.
Why do you think that initially you didn't realize there was opportunity for advancement? Was it not communicated to you?
No, I think why I thought that was because it was a small business and there is a stigma with small businesses. We have one office and that's in Fife. There isn't, multiple locations. It's just a local small company. And, that stigma of, well, it's a mom and pop shop. I'm going to work here for, however long until I decide to leave and go somewhere else. I'm probably never going to make any money because at that time, my mentality and the way I thought about things was, the only way you can make money is if you're in corporate America. Because that's kind of what you are fed as you're, going
Which
through
is
your...
not true.
Which is not
all.
true at all. Exactly. Because, we have tradespeople who make as much money or more money than people working in corporate America. Right?
It is crazy how much you can make as an electrician.
It is crazy how much you can make as a roofer.
It's a plug for roofing. Can
Yeah.
make a good amount of money.
Yes, you can.
So you start your day. Or
Start my day
by the day
responding.
before, yeah.
Yep, responding to emails. Usually, I have bid work to do pretty much every day. There's always something coming in. We've got someone who tracks all of our bids and kind of goes around to different portals and pulls projects that are out to bid. And amongst ourselves, we kind of decide who's going to bid what or who wants to bid what. And so, I do some bid work. I work closely with our production department. Rachel Polly, another one of our friends.
Hey, Rachel.
So Rachel and I work closely together every day, just kind of going through, what we've got going on, if there's any issues that arise. But it doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, when I get started with my day, after being in the zone, I look up and it's already like 1 o'clock.
Well, a project is like a living thing that's constantly changing and adapting, and you have to keep your finger on the pulse of it.
Exactly. I mean, tracking the financials and answering any questions that might come up. And if there's a detail change, and if the guys are on site and the superintendent is asking for them to do something and trying to get a change order and going back and forth, it's constant. Yeah.
And so you balance your professional responsibilities with your responsibilities at home.
Yep.
Your kids are home right now. You have children.
I do. I have a soon-to-be 11-year-old Izzy and 9-year-old Enzo.
That's crazy that they're at that age.
Yes, they're at that age.
So you are balancing several things.
Yep. The work-life balance is very difficult at times, but I do have a great support system. My partner and husband, Nick, who works from home, and he, has been great throughout all of this. Honestly, I don't know how I would be able to manage it without his support. He's been at home with the kids while they've been doing school, and which has allowed me the opportunity to go into work every day. I don't have to go into work every day, but it's easier if I'm there, if people have questions. The camaraderie that we have in our office is so important. We bounce ideas off of each other, so being physically there really helps a lot. Sometimes I'll kind of work from home if I've got a lot of bid work to do and I just cannot be distracted. I'll use that time because when you're home, the phone isn't ringing, you're not interrupted, and I have this bad habit of when I'm working from home, I sit there for hours, 4 o'clock hits and I'm still sitting there working because you kind of lose track of time. You're kind of in the zone. You're not worrying about driving through traffic, right? You're at home already. So
you keep mentioning this zone, and honestly, I don't know where it is. I've been trying to find it.
You'll get there eventually.
Okay.
It takes some practice. But yeah, it's, I kind of just plug away doing bids and it feels great being home. I like sometimes when I'm home kind of just like eavesdrop on the dynamic that's going on. I try to be as invisible as possible and just observe. If you know me, you know that me being invisible is not something that I'm capable of doing. So, but it's a process. Yeah.
You'll find it. You'll find the zone.
I'll find that zone.
So you've been with Chinook for 6 years.
6 years, yep.
I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but is Chinook primarily residential, or it's new commercial or new residential?
So the only thing that we do not do is retail re-roofs. So we are predominantly commercial, I guess you can call it. We've got our business is set up in it's kind of multifaceted. We've got our production new construction arm that covers the tract housing those developments. We do that. We've got our gutter department. We've got our re-roof, commercial re-roof projects. So, like schools, that kind of stuff. We've got our large commercial new construction projects. So multifamily buildings, apartment complexes, schools as well, new construction schools. We've got our overall low slope commercial, commercial re-roofs. And then we have waterproofing, which we recently started, and it's kicking butt. It's going pretty well. So it's some exciting stuff. And all of this honestly happened in the last 6 years, because when I first started, we only did the production new construction, so the tract housings, and the residential re-roofs. We did a little bit of residential re-roof. And now we've grown to all of these different buckets that we've been doing, and it's great.
That's really great that you decided to stick it out.
And another great reason for sticking it out, we are now employee owned. So we are an employee owned roofing company. It's not a legacy company, and that's one of the reasons why we are employee owned, because our founding member, John Patterson, and his wife Kim, they don't have any kids to pass it on to. And, he thought, what better way to pass it on than pass it on to the employees? And,
that is a wonderful legacy.
And that's one of the things that will, has been a great incentive for us, because when you get that statement from your ESOT and you see how much the company's worth and what your shares are worth, it's great. That's some good change right there, for your future. And so, I look back and I think, God, what was I thinking, wanting to, look for the next best thing? And sometimes you kind of just have to stick it out. And I got to say, it wasn't easy sticking it out. I knew nothing about roofing. Nobody goes to college to learn how to be a roofer.
That's because it's a trade. And
it's a trade.
You can be trained.
But is there a trade school that teaches roofing?
Skills USA offers. There's yeah.
Well, that's
that's programs.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it's like, I went to college and now I'm working in the roofing industry. People are like, wait, what?
There's no Foster School of Roofing.
Right. But when you come into this industry, there's so much to learn. There's great opportunities, but you have to take those opportunities, right? I believe in, if I want something, I go after it instead of sitting there thinking that I deserve it and it's going to come to me. I had to work really hard to get where I'm at. I had to spend lots of nights and weekends that I gave up studying the roofing industry, studying the anatomy of a roof, understanding the products that we're installing, understanding, how those products interact with each other, interact with the environment. Just understanding the business as a whole. You have to study that stuff, and you have to make some sacrifices. And that's what I did. I made some sacrifices, and I am where I am today because of that.
So as a woman, I mean, you've been there for 6 years. Have you encountered any pushback in terms of your development? Maybe not from inside of your company, but from your competitors or from the outside world?
From the outside world, I've kind of gotten pushback because there's a stigma when you are in a trade. We've all seen trade people, and there's a stigma attached to them. But I gotta say that in our company, I haven't gotten pushback. I've gotten a lot of support. I think I want to say our company's progressive. I feel like it is, because they're very much in tune to society and social inequalities and what's going on, and people supporting each other. We like to joke and say we're a little dysfunctional family, and that's kind of what we are, really. We're always there for each other, and if somebody says something to me that is disparaging in any way, I can assure you that, the people in our office are going to just, back me up over it. And I've seen that, we've had instances where, a superintendent has said something that was disrespectful, and, our CEO stepped in and said, no, you cannot say that. You cannot talk to my people that way. And if that's the way you want to talk to my people, then, we don't have to work together anymore. And you kind of think, well, you're going to terminate a contract for me? But that's how important he values and our company values the individuals who work there. It's not the old boys club. That mentality is out the door. It's no longer that because, that's kind of what construction is. It's the old boys club. But I think they've become very progressive in eliminating that kind of behavior and saying, no, these people, whether they're a male or a female and they work here, they're our people and we have to take care of our people.
That's awesome. I think we're going to continue to see that mentality move through.
Yeah, I have to agree, especially with organizations like NWIR, National Women in Roofing. Again, there's just so many more women in the industry, and that organization highlights who we are and what we are capable of doing.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to kind of segue into the NWIR. So. In addition to being Sun Devils, Ray and I are also members of the National Women in Roofing organization. And basically, it is a organization for women who work in roofing to kind of come together and support each other professionally and personally. And Ray and I are actually founding members of our Seattle chapter.
Yes, we are.
What was it? It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago this summer,
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, this past summer was
June.
2 years. Yeah, June, 2 years since we started.
And it's been around, I think, since 2017. Maybe before that.
Maybe a little bit before that. 5 years?
But, roofing is a $1 billion industry. And it's, while it is predominantly male, there is also a significant presence of women. And a bunch of these women got together and decided they were going to create an organization for us to gather and focus on education, mentorship, recruitment, and
networking.
Thank you. Those are our 4 pillars, by the way.
Yes.
Can you tell that we've talked about this before? And so through this organization, we have met a lot of other awesome women.
Yes.
And I've met some of my best friends have been in roofing. So hashtag better together. That's our hashtag. I didn't just make that up. Our hashtag is better together. Can you talk to us about the NWIR and how it's impacted you?
When the first time I heard about NWIR was actually about 2 years ago, June. We were in Las Vegas for the Western States Roofing Convention. And the speaker was Thea Dudley. I met Jennifer Stone. And, they just talked about women in the industry and what that meant. And, I walked away from that thinking, okay, we got to have a Seattle chapter. And I think it happened within like a month or so. It happened
fast.
Yeah, it happened really, really fast. And, it's for me, it's been personal growth. I've learned a lot from our meetings. We have our meetings that are monthly. We haven't had any because of coronavirus.
We've had Zoom meetings.
But we'll get back to normal. Well, whatever normal is soon. But a lot of our meetings are educational. When you're around women who work in the same industry as you feed off of each other's energy and you learn from each other. And for me, that helped me personally to build my self-esteem and especially my confidence level in this industry and being able to speak out more when I'm at a meeting. Because sometimes, I'll go to a meeting with one of the guys from work and I'll kind of like crawl into a little shell and let them run it. And being part of NWIR has helped me to be more vocal when I go to those meetings. I go to a meeting and, it's like, nope, this is Ray's meeting. She's got the floor. And you have to speak. And I've gained that confidence level because, women have all these insecurities in their head. I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't like this or I don't like that. Or, this is my good side. This is my bad side. Those crazy things. And so I found a lot of confidence being around other women who exude a lot of confidence and who's helped me. I mean, you guys, we sit around and we joke with each other, and, we have our meetups, and I don't think you guys really understand the power of those meetups and the conversations that we have, and how influential it is with each other.
Mm-hmm. It's also an excellent networking opportunity. We have women from all different facets of the roofing industry, from contractors to vendors to insurance. Just a lot of different women in different fields, and it's a great way to interact and to network and to learn new things. And I do look forward to when we can get back together in person.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Actually, like we were supposed to do a build.
Yeah. So we were supposed to do a she build. We work with an organization called Rebuilding Together South Sound.
I brought Amy on here.
I am actually on one of the new board members of Rebuilding Together South Sound. That work-life balance thing again, right?
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It's a myth, yeah. And so, we're hoping to do She Build officially next spring. We do have, another project that we're going to do some work with. Fields Roof Service is going to assist in that. And it's just a little re-roof project that we're going to do. But, She Build, I look forward to it, and I'm really bummed.
What is a She Build?
So She Build, it's kind of like Habitat for Humanity in a way. She Build, we're building together. South Sound finds a female homeowner who needs some repairs done on her home, and it's a comprehensive repair. So in addition to the roofing, they'll repair siding, interior, any kind of interior damages. And so all these different trades get together. A lot of volunteers get together on Rebuilding Day, and I think they do a few homes on the same day, just in different parts of South Sound. And NWIR, we donate a roof, and it's just great to get all of our members together. It's 100% volunteer. We get all of our members together. We talk to some of our vendors and manufacturers to get materials donated, and it's just a great fun day. We had a lot of fun last year, and we were looking forward to doing it again this year. But obviously, with COVID-19, we weren't able to. Another thing to note is a lot of our the female homeowners that Rebuilding Together works with, they're elderly. And so it really was not something they wanted to risk with, having this kind of event and exposing any of those people to a potential risk of the virus.
Which is huge because their need is so great.
Exactly.
So there's a lot that they're putting it off.
Yeah. And so, we look forward to next year. We really, really do hope that we can get out there next April and nail some shingles.
Yep. Get on a roof.
I
was so ready.
I was so
ready to get on a roof.
I was too. But you know what? We've got some time
to practice.
Some of us who are not ready, we've got some time to practice.
Get ready, girls.
Yeah.
We're getting on that roof. We're going to practice. Your home? Your home? Somebody else's home? Who are we going to practice on? Not yours, because your roof is relatively new.
We'll find something to practice on, I'm sure.
Okay.
We'll find someone.
So back to the NWIR. It's an awesome organization.
I have to agree, yes.
Awesome women take part. I also want to add that it's great because you don't know how many women are in this industry until you all get together.
Yeah. We were in Dallas in February.
Yes. Before that, we were in Nashville.
Yeah. We were in Dallas in February for the International Roofing Expo. And typically they'll have an NWIR day. And, you get together with all these women from across the country, and you sit in this room and you look around and you go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of us. And that's not everyone.
No.
That's a small.
It's like one from each company, one or two.
It was a small fraction of all of us. And it was still, the room was packed. And, I just love hearing the stories, and the speakers that they have are so dynamic. And, it's just, you have a lot of fun at these things. You really do. You get to meet a lot of people, people that you never thought you would be able to meet. And it's great.
Yeah. And I think what's so great, at least for me personally, is when I go and I meet all these women and I see them in different facets of the industry.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I could do that. Like, it goes back to like being able to elevate yourself.
Exactly. And being in roofing, it's not being on a roof necessarily nailing shingles. You can be an estimator. You can work in the accounting department. You can
Safety.
work in safety. There's all of these different areas that you can work in. So when people hear that you're a roofer, they think, oh, you get on a roof and you nail shingles. No.
There's even like a science component.
Yeah, there is a science component because somebody has to make the shingles and somebody has to test the shingles against the elements. So there's that too.
Yeah, it's a very diverse
It is.
industry.
It is.
So when it comes to, and I added this question earlier, and we went over it briefly. What do you think is more important for your elevation? Is it self-advocacy or education?
I think both are important because if you want to elevate yourself and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to put my name in the hat every time for this position. But how do you get that position if you're not educated? If you want to move to the next step, right? So let's say I started off as a receptionist and I want to move into estimating. And I'm, going to the bosses and saying, hey, you have a position open for estimating and I want to be an estimator. Well, how can I be an estimator if I don't know how to estimate, if I haven't educated myself on how to use the correct programs or what the materials do, right? So a little bit of both is important because you have to know what it is you're going to be doing. And for you to be successful in the area that you're working in, education is constant. You cannot just say, oh, I'm going to, educate myself up to this point and then stop there because it's ever changing. The roofing industry, new products are coming out constantly. There's new technology that's available constantly. So the way you did it years ago, it's probably not going to work now. When I first started estimating, we used what's called a digitizer. And it's this large mat with a stylus pen. And you'd stand there with these giant blueprints. And you would do your takeoff with that pen. And it beeped every time you hit a point on the...
It was calculating
on the blueprint. Yep. It calculated it. But it beeped every time. And everyone in the office knew when Ray was doing takeoffs. Because it just beeped constantly because you're constantly hitting points and it's beeping, right? Well, that was 4 years ago. And then we discovered this program called Bluebeam. It's a, PDF program that I can sit down and open the prints online in a PDF and I can do my takeoffs there. New technologies are constantly coming out. And so again, if I want to move to the next level, if I'm advocating to move myself up in the company, I've got to be educated. I've got to learn what I'm doing. I got to know what I'm doing and stay abreast with what's going on.
I feel like this comes up every single time that I sit down with someone, but it comes back to being your own subject matter expert. And like being the most knowledgeable that you can be.
Right. Exactly.
How do you stay apprised of new information?
A lot of it comes from manufacturers or vendors. And when you've built relationships with these people, especially in the company, you'll get emails all the time like, hey, we've got this webinar. LinkedIn will have something on there and you kind of just sign up and you go to it and you learn something and you retain that information, especially with coronavirus. There's been a lot of webinars that's been going on.
It's been overwhelming.
Yeah, it has. There's a lot of Zoom meetings and I'm kind of
zoomed out.
Yeah, I'm zoomed out.
You're zoned out on the Zoom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, the in-person thing again.
Me too.
Yeah, Zoom is okay and Microsoft Teams is okay, but let's just get back together in the same room. But there's been a lot of webinars because of it. A lot of the conventions that we go to, when we go to IRE or Western States, there's a day when, first of all, there's a lot of classes. There's a lot of classes you can attend where you can learn about the industry. You can learn about products and processes. And in addition to that, then there's this giant showroom, the exhibit hall, and you've got all these different products and there's always some new product that you have never heard of or you're not using in your region. And so there you are, learning about it.
That's a great point. The expo is always fascinating.
It is.
It's a great educational moment.
It is. It sure is. And you get a lot of free stuff. Swag.
You get so, and like you would, I'm sure people are like, oh, what are they going to get? Like free shingles? No.
No.
You get cool stuff.
You get cool stuff.
In fact, I have in my purse, I haven't taken it out yet. It's, I think it's actually an NWIR little screwdriver. It's like that little, remember that pocket screwdriver?
Yeah.
I carry that with me wherever I go.
Yep. I got a little manicure kit.
I was using that last night.
I use the lip gloss all the time. It's on my
lip gloss?
desk. Yeah, it's the EOS, the little ball one that you.
Oh, the gold.
Yep.
I got that too.
You get a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff. I have the phone charger, or that like little.
Yep. Bluetooth speaker, headphones.
But the education is the most important
Yes,
thing.
education is very important.
Stuff is not as important.
Correct.
It's very nice.
It's very nice.
But not as important.
Exactly.
I totally forgot where I was going with that. What were we talking about?
We're talking about the expo.
The expo, right.
And education.
Oh, right, and advocacy.
Yes.
Okay, right. So thinking, maybe not thinking like roofing specific, but to a woman that's interested in the trades, because, I mean, we encounter a lot of other women that work in different industries.
Right.
What advice would you, if she's interested in entering into a trade, what advice would you give her?
I would say pick the trade that you want to enter first. Learn something about that trade. Be ready to make sacrifices. Anything that you thought you knew about that specific trade, just pretend like you don't know any of it all and just go in there with an open mind and ready to learn. Be coachable. Sometimes things will happen and you'll say, oh, it's because I'm a woman. Maybe not. Maybe it's because you weren't ready. Because sometimes we might think that something didn't happen because I'm a woman or because of this reason or that reason. And sometimes it really just is because you're not ready. And be ready. Always be ready. Always be learning. Always be open to new things. Take the roofing industry, for example. One of our pillars is recruitment. And, people hear recruitment and they think, oh, you're going to poach my people from other companies.
That's not what that means.
That's not what that means at all. We've got kids graduating from high school in the next few years, especially this year, who either can't afford college or don't want to go to college. Not everyone is a college student. Not everyone is capable of being in college. And so what do we do as an industry? Do we, partake in, job fairs and go to those colleges or high schools and you talk to kids and you say, you know what, I work in roofing and this is what I do. Do we offer internships over the summer so someone can, some of these kids can kind of come in the summertime and cut their teeth and get to see what it is you do and have them partake in different aspects of the business, have them work in the accounting department, have them work in in the estimating department, have them do different things so that they can see what it's like and then make an informed decision. Some of them might want to go out on a roof, offer training to them.
Put them in safety gear.
Have them just see what it's about and then let them make a decision. I think that recruitment effort is very, very important because let's be honest, the roofing industry, we're starting to age out. So, the older guys who are old school that started it, they're aging out and we need some fresh new blood in there. And where do we find that? We find that with the high school kids or the freshmen in college who is kind of like looking at himself going, you know what, this is not for me. I need to find something else. Those are the ones you want because they're young, they're coachable. They're coming into the industry not knowing anything. So you're going to have to train them. And sometimes investing in that effort to train them can actually keep them in your industry.
Or a woman.
Or a woman.
Bring in more women.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely places for them
in
our industry.
But you've got to show them where they're going to fit in. Because again, people have the concept that roofing is being on a roof. And maybe a woman doesn't want to be on a roof, but she might want to be an estimator.
I mean, I would like just to kind of add to what you said in being open and being coachable. I think if you're interested in an organization like roofing or another trade, find a group that specializes in it. We have the NWIR that we use as a resource, but there are other resources that can be used. There are construction clubs, industries. There's an organization that Brittany led me on to, Tradeswomen.
Yes.
I forget what the full title is, but there are organizations that you can get involved with and perhaps find a mentor or just talk to someone face to face and ask them what their experience has been. There are lots of organizations that can provide you the aha moment that you're looking for.
I think there's one called National Association of Women in Construction. NAWIC, I believe.
Oh yes,
yep. That's a really great one. If you're looking to get involved in construction in some way, find those organizations like Morgan said, and just reach out to people. And all of these organizations have mentorship programs. Find your opportunity to be mentored and see if it's something that you're going to like. Yeah. And you'd be surprised.
You would be surprised. You could end up loving roofing.
Yeah, like I do.
Yeah. I also enjoy roofing. Did not expect it.
Exactly.
And if you get involved in these organizations and you realize it's not for you, at the very least you will have gained a professional network, a friend, and just new experiences that you can move on and move forward. Ray, is there anything else you'd like to add to your experience as a woman in roofing?
Not really. I mean, I can't say how much I love being in this industry. I've made some lifelong friends, like this gal here. It's been great. And again, if there's an opportunity that presents itself, go for it. Don't second guess yourself and say, should I really, or do I deserve it? Just make the effort and go for it. You just never know what can happen. And don't make long-term decisions based on short-term feelings. Because,
ooh.
So I'm going to preach for a second here.
Oh.
Because here's the thing, right? You might feel some way today. A lot of people go into work and you have bad days. I've had bad days in the roofing industry. We all do. The industry isn't perfect by any means. And that's not what I'm here to say. But that short-term feeling that you're having, that kind of puts you in a spot where you're just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Do not make a decision based on that. Look at it as a whole. Look at the whole pie. Look at the whole picture and say, maybe I'm having a bad day today, and what am I going to do tomorrow to make it a better day? And again, because I'm part of NWIR, I have the support of my friends that I can call and say, I had a really rough day today. That can kind of talk you down from the ledge and say, you know what? Yeah, it was a rough day. And maybe, you screwed something up, or you're faced with an issue and you're trying to find a solution to that problem. We bounce ideas off of each other. There's no state secret about roofing. There really isn't. There's nothing about our business, especially we're very transparent in our company. So there isn't anything that, is a state secret that I need to hide from anyone. So if one of my colleagues calls me up and says, how would you deal with this thing? Well, here's how I would deal with it. We've had a similar situation and here's how we dealt with it. But having the support system within the organization really does help a lot. It really does. And, if I made long-term decisions based on short-term feelings every time, I probably would not be sitting here talking about roofing and my experiences in it. And so, I guess that's kind of the little nugget that I'd like to leave people with is, just
take a breath.
Take
the day.
Take the day and think about it some more and talk to people who are in the industry and share with each other.
That's great. That was good. We'll put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I like t-shirts.
We're coming up on our time. Ray, thank you so much for being willing to come on here and talk to me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You are so welcome. This has been really pleasant. And I hope it's been informative. I know that I've learned some stuff that I haven't thought about before.
I hope so.
Yes. You're homeschooling your kids right now, so I feel like that teaching is kind of coming off of you.
Well, let's be honest. I am not homeschooling.
Is it Nick?
Nick is
homeschooling.
Nick is homeschooling them with, obviously, there's remote learning and there's the teaching aids, but he still has to do some teaching. So
Okay, well, he didn't teach me anything then. Never mind.
I got to give him his props.
Thanks, Nick. Good job. Keep going. Keep the faith. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who has listened. If you're interested in learning more about Chinook Roofing, you can visit
www.chinookroofing.com.
And in addition to, if you're interested in learning more about the NWIR, you can visit nationalwomeninroofing.org. I mean, I would encourage you to look them up anyway. They're just a really interesting organization. You'll see a lot of really cool member profiles.
Yes.
And you'll read about our 4 pillars, which are just super cool in general. Today's podcast was sponsored by Guardian Roofing and Pest Control. As your local, I've got the whole spiel set up. As your local residential roofing and pest control contractor, we've got you covered from rooftop to crawl space. And I just want to thank them as our sponsors. I work for Guardian. I work with some amazing people. And I just want to thank them for sponsoring this podcast. If you're interested in sponsoring a podcast and promoting the professional growth of women in male-dominated industries or female entrepreneurs, please reach out to me at morgan@womencanproject.com. And that's all we have for today. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please let me know. Give me a shout out. You can find the Women Can Project on Instagram and Facebook, or you can visit us at womencanproject.com. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember that women can.